Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm Sonaly Patel, Senior Manager of Commerce Marketing here at Mailchimp, and we're so excited that you're joining us today for our second and final series of our Countdown to Black Friday event. As I know you know, this year has been a strong growth year for the online channel, and sales are expected to hit monumental heights as we go into the holiday season. And as we get closer to the big day, we want to focus today's content on the power of analytics and how you can best utilize the data to optimize your website and marketing strategies all in real time. This will help you to fully maximize your holiday sales potential. And to help me in this conversation, I will be joined by 4 e-commerce experts: Deanna Thornton from Mailchimp, Kevin Bates from WooCommerce, Jason Tomachter from QuickBooks, and Adam Holden-Bache from Adventist Partners. We are really fortunate to have such talented individuals with diverse backgrounds and strong analytical experience who will be sharing their insight with us today. But before we get into the tips, let's first meet each of our panelists. Deanna, why don't we have you start?
Awesome. Thanks, Sonaly. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. I'm Deanna Thornton, the Director of Commerce Marketing here at Mailchimp. I'm responsible for driving the development and execution of marketing strategies for our commerce segment of users. I have over a decade of experience within e-commerce, working for big box retailers such as the Home Depot and Saks Fifth Avenue. And I'm truly, truly passionate about e-commerce, and I'm really happy that I have the opportunity to turn my passion for e-commerce into meaningful work here at Mailchimp.
Thanks, Deanna. I have the pleasure of working with you every day here at Mailchimp, but it's exciting to have you join us so that you can share your perspective and insights with everyone today. Kevin, welcome. Let's have you go next.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm Kevin. I'm on the WooCommerce marketing team at Automatic. My focus is paid advertising, content marketing, and also web analytics. So I spend a lot of time helping our team measure the impact of all of our marketing campaigns on all the various channels that we're running them on. So very much looking forward to sharing some tips on how to leverage analytics and, determine which of your efforts are driving growth for your store.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for being here. And I think your background and experience will provide a really interesting perspective. Jason, welcome to the panel. Let's have you go next.
Good morning and happy holidays, everyone. I'm Jason Tomachter, and I'm on the QuickBooks product team. I help solution providers like Mailchimp, WooCommerce, etc., integrate with QuickBooks Online so that they can get all of their details into our product and get those rich set of analytics.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you and welcome. Looking forward to learning from you as well. And last but not least, I'd like to welcome Adam to the panel. Please introduce yourself, Adam.
Hey, everybody. I'm Adam Holden-Bache, and I'm the Director of Email Marketing at Adventist Partners, and I also serve as Lead Strategist at Email Industries. So I'm agency side, and I help my clients by directing email campaigns for e-commerce and for crowdfunding projects. And I'm also the author of a book called How to Win at B2B Email Marketing, A Guide to Achieving Success.
Awesome. Welcome. And thank you so much for being here today. Really interested to hear more about your experience as well. But before we get started, I wanted to make sure that all our listeners know that following the event, we'll be posting this recording on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll be sharing the same recording to those who are subscribed to our weekly holiday tips email. If you're viewing on our social channels, please feel free to drop in a comment below the video to have your questions answered by our social support team. But if you're viewing with us anywhere other than our social channels, you can reach out at any time to our award-winning support team who will answer your questions just as quickly as they can. So now let's go ahead and get started and jump into the first tip. Tip number 1, set up your analytics infrastructure, dashboards, and reporting. Now this is really important. Before Black Friday and Cyber Week are actually upon us, you need to ensure that your infrastructure, or in other words, the systems that you have in place, are able to monitor and gather performance and reporting, but make sure that you're thinking about it across all customer touchpoints. Now, Kevin, I know you have a lot of experience with this. I'd love to hear from you on how you best recommend our viewers leverage this tip.
Yeah, very much so. This is an interesting one because all marketing tools and software, usually have their own built-in analytics. So Facebook ads will have information about Facebook ads and Instagram, and then Twitter, and of course Mailchimp. And all of those things can be sort of siloed. So I highly recommend before really anything else is that you want to have all of that data in one place so that it can be analyzed against each other. So I highly recommend setting up Google Analytics. Google Analytics is widely used free software. It's great for analyzing all sorts of different aspects of your website, but particularly for upper funnel, when you want to drive traffic to your site, you need something like Google Analytics to give you insight into the quality of that traffic. So without qualitative metrics and being able to compare your traffic sources against each other, you're a bit in the dark. So the first step, I always highly recommend getting Google Analytics installed and collecting data, because until you start collecting data, you won't have you have no insight there. So it's a forward moving collection. You can't analyze past performance until you set it up. So first things first, I always say get GA installed. If you're on WooCommerce, we have a WooCommerce extension, which you just plug in your GA ID and all your store data goes into Google Analytics. So that's my first tip for getting started, is to get everything into GA.
Now, Jason, I think you had some thoughts too from a different perspective. Would love to kind of hear what you're thinking.
Yeah, thanks. So just as important on the other side, on the lower end of the funnel, is your accounting piece. So solutions like QuickBooks Online. So one thing you want to make sure is that you're configured for inventory tracking, so you can get those low stock alerts, view your quantities on hand, and really mostly stay on top of your purchase orders so you can make sure you're not running out of product. And then super important, integrate with your e-commerce platform. A good integration enables you to automatically just stay up to date with your accounting and sync your customers, orders, your inventory payments, COGS, etc. So you don't have to do any of that data entry. You can find these integrations on the QuickBooks App Store. Just go to apps.com, and you can integrate with a variety of solutions such as Mailchimp and WooCommerce. Now, if your software allows for automated reporting, you want to make sure that you set up your reports up front, and then just set how often you want them sent to your team. And if you don't have that, then make sure that you have a game plan on who'll be running those reports.
Great, thank you. That's super valuable. Deanna,
yeah, and I just wanted to add in terms of just like, I know that analytics is often sometimes that's something that's very daunting, but really focusing on like, what are those top metrics that you need? I would say for me, I think that really focusing on traffic, conversion, sales, bounce rate, and then tracking your inventory at the product level is definitely those top metrics that I would recommend, making sure that you have your pulse on and making sure that you have that report set up leading into Black Friday. So then you're able to quickly assess and really look at those reporting and determine whether or not there should be any changes made to your strategies that you have in place.
No, great. No, that's very valuable. I think our viewers will like to hear kind of what metrics they should be looking and keeping a pulse on. So thank you for that. Thank you all. That was a lot of information and super helpful. I think we're ready to go ahead and move on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is traffic patterns are telling. I think all online businesses are very aware and focused on website traffic, and really rightfully so. Your online traffic can be a great indicator of success. Now, Kevin, based on your roles, both current and past, you have a lot of experience looking at and analyzing traffic. Can you take us through some helpful recommendations on how you think we should think about traffic?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really interesting one too, because when you talk to entrepreneurs, and they can get a little wrapped up in hits and traffic and visitors and just sort of what we would call vanity metrics that look really cool when you see a graphic going up and to the right, and I have more traffic, so that's great. But I think it's a really good idea to focus on the quality of the traffic and make sure, of course, that traffic is going to drive growth for your business, and not just make a really pretty looking graph that looks cool. So my biggest thing with traffic patterns is making it a routine to analyze traffic comparatively over time periods. So that in order to see an overall pattern, you don't just want to zoom out and look for like a line graph or something like that. You want to compare it to the previous time period. So what I do is every Monday, I compare last week's traffic to the week prior. And it's very easy to just see any sort of movement in different traffic sources, different pages, anything that's going to have changed week over week. That will really kind of put an alarm bell on it. So you can see like, wow, that product did really well last week. Why is that? And maybe it's because you sent out an email campaign. Maybe it's because you promoted it on Instagram, whatever that might be. But when you're looking at week over week, it just makes it so easy to spot those little instances of growth, but also issues. You might see a product that declined really low, and it might have say you can see that organic traffic dropped for that product, and maybe it got de-indexed from Google or something like that. Like, it's really easy to spot issues as well when you're doing that. So highly recommend doing a week over week. Then the same on the first of the month, do a month over month, last month versus the previous month. And you can do a quarterly, yearly, doing that routinely comparative analysis like that. I think as you make it a routine, you'll start to get used to what you're used to seeing every Monday. You'll kind of see the usual growth, and then if something's off, you'll start to really know. So that's how you become really aware of that pattern, that traffic pattern. And I think from there you'll start to spot insights and learn what to do more of, less of, et cetera.
Yeah, definitely. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think that one of the things that I know from as a marketer, we're always looking at what's driving the greatest traffic. And sometimes that's like an opportunity for us to really optimize what we're seeing. And if we're seeing an influx of traffic from a specific channel, that's a signal to us to say, hey, this is performing well. Maybe we need to really evaluate, is there an opportunity to better optimize that effort? So definitely traffic patterns are super relevant, very important, and people should definitely be keeping a pulse on it. So thank you so much. That was super helpful. That actually takes us to the next tip, which is tip number 3. Conversion rates can signal the viability of success. And as you know, online retailers spend a lot of time looking at analyzing conversion rates. It's critically important that retailers continuously monitor this metric to help understand if their products and services are really meeting the demands of their customers. Adam, I know based on your experience, and you've helped a lot of clients with marketing efforts, that you could probably provide us some great recommendations on this tip.
Yeah, well, when we work with our clients, we really talk to them, you can't manage what you don't measure, and if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So it's really all about setting everything up, and obviously conversions are really the holy grail of everything we're going for. I mean, the conversions will define the success of your campaign. So we have to approach marketing with conversions in mind as our goal, and know how to measure conversions, so we can help reach our business objectives. So when we're going after, trying to get those conversions, we also have to look at whether or not there's more than one conversion level. I mean, obviously for Black Friday and campaigns like this, we want to be going after that sale and generating that revenue. But we also have to realize too that there's other conversions out there that might have some positive long-term effect. So we always work with our clients that, we're trying to go after the conversion first, getting the sale, but if not, we're trying to get the email address, because that has a long tail. It's something that we can work with after the holidays and try to get some value out of there too. And by looking at our analytics, we can also then measure how many new leads we're collecting along with how many sales we're collecting. And we can then look at, the lifetime value of all these, because we know what a new lead is worth to us. So it's really interesting, to be able to do that and to shoot for these different conversion levels throughout the campaign. But one of the other things I think is also interesting too is that as we're going for conversions, we're looking to try to amplify the things that are working. But we've also found a lot of success in looking at the things that aren't working and fixing them. So identifying your points of failure in your chain and finding through analytics what's not working and fixing those can sometimes actually help improve your bottom line more than just trying to do more of whatever is working.
Great point. Great. If there's no one else that wants to add any insight here, we can move on to the next tip.
I would just add in terms of what you said, Adam, in terms of there's factors that could be impacting overall conversion. And I found, especially during Black Friday or in e-commerce in general, there are I would bucket it out into 3 things that could really, really impact your overall conversion rate. So the first one being your overall findability of products. So when you're promoting your products through your external marketing, whether it's through social or through digital, you want to make sure that you're landing your customers on a destination where they don't necessarily have to hunt and go and find the products that are currently on sale. They're able to easily navigate from your social onto a landing page on your website, or whether also for your direct traffic, just making sure that you have a homepage banner that's then directed them to that landing page where they can view all your products that you have on sale. So it's very important that you have a seamless navigation in order for customers to be able to find the products and easily transact. The second thing that really impacts conversion rates is pricing. So for instance, I know that Kevin, you spoke to traffic. So you see a lot of traffic coming in. It's very important during Black Friday that you're also able to track your traffic and conversion at your SKU level. So for instance, if you're getting a lot of traffic to one SKU, but you're not seeing the conversion, you might want to test adjusting your pricing and maybe executing a deeper discount of course, making sure that you're maintaining your margin levels. So don't want to degrade your margin in any way, but making sure that based on your margin guardrails, that if there is room for you to apply an additional discount, then you can do so, and just see what impact that has on overall conversion rates. The third and most important thing that I see as a huge deterrent with regards to conversion is shipping. Shipping is the #1 driver of abandoned carts and lowering your conversion rate. So during Black Friday and Cyber Week, especially when there's going to be such a competitive landscape, you might want to also consider offering free shipping for a limited amount of time and seeing what impact that has on your overall sell-through of products and ultimately your conversion and your sales. So I would say that those are 3 things that definitely could impact conversion rates, but just making sure that you are mindful of, again, your findability of products, your pricing, and also your shipping policy. Hopefully that will help you to drive an increase in your conversion rates during this time frame.
Absolutely. Adam and Deanna, that was a lot of great information. Definitely what you said about the shipping policies resonated with me. I know as a consumer, I've pulled the trigger on buying something or buying more of something based on shipping promotions. And during such a highly competitive time period, I think all online retailers should really be evaluating this. So thank you for bringing that up. So far we've discussed driving conversion from a site experience standpoint and analyzing traffic and where it's coming from. Now you want to look at and determine how that impacts your marketing campaign performance, which leads us to tip number 4. Keep an eye on your marketing campaign ROI. Candidly, I love this tip. I'm a little bit biased though, because I've been building and executing marketing campaigns for years, but you want to make sure that you're optimizing your budgets. And Kevin, I know you have a lot of experience with this as well. Would love to kind of hear your take.
Yeah. Specifically with paid advertising, of course, this is very, very important because you want to make sure that you're earning more revenue than you're spending in, Google ads and things like that. But this is another one that can be a little bit tricky because to what Adam spoke to, there's a lot of different touch points and there's a lot of different types of campaigns with different goals. So it's not just about return on ad spend sometimes. Sometimes it's about cost per opt-in or cost per lead or things like that. You might want to look at like you're spending money because you're investing in growth in areas that once they're on the email list, that converts at a certain rate. So you do have to think in terms of a funnel. Like it can't just be campaign X made this much money and that's it. So you definitely want to have a bigger picture and make sure that you have different KPIs for different stages of your funnel. So we look at cost per acquisition for new user accounts, things like that. And then we know, generally speaking, how much a new user is worth. For e-commerce, that could be a little bit more vague because people like to shop. So you might want to look at, how many add to carts did something drive? Even if they didn't quite check out, you want to look for those quality metrics. And to Deanna's point, looking at cart removals is another big one too. So if you see that that's like a sticking point for people, whether it's shipping or something else, sometimes you'll see people add 5 things to the cart and then there's a very high level of a removal rate for one of those products. You can start to see which one of those products is the sticking point. So I digress a little bit, but yeah. So when you're driving paid traffic, the first thing is kind of a little bit of a housekeeping thing, like before with Google Analytics. You want to make sure that all your URLs are tagged. Most people might not see this, but in the URL bar, when you see like a store URL and then it's got a question mark and a whole bunch of stuff at the end, those tags are what allow you to measure your marketing campaigns individually. Otherwise, it'll just say AdWords and you won't know which ad it actually was. So you need to make sure that you're tagging all of your URLs. Those are called UTMs. If you Google UTM Builder, you can create a tracking URL. That's pretty easy there. And then when you go into Google Analytics, you'll see all your campaigns separately. So you'll see not only that it came from, say, Instagram, but exactly which post it was or which story it was or which Facebook post it was. So it allows you to get very granular. And then you can start to look at the individual promotions and the ROI that they're creating there. So I think tagging and segmentation is really huge here. And then understanding, like I said, what's the goal of the campaign? Is it an awareness campaign where you're trying to drive shopping and more ads or more eyes on different products? Or is it like, here's 20% off, buy now? And then that one, you're going to want to see like a direct correlation to revenue. And then the other thing is just looking year over year. So like Black Friday is a really easy one because it happens every year. It seems to be getting longer every year. Now it's like Black November, but whatever. But looking at like, we look at Black Friday year over year all the time. So we look at like what we did last year compared, how did it do? What can we do better? What did we try that didn't work? So on and so forth. So I think the other thing is just, if it is a routine sale, not just like an ongoing marketing campaign, it's really easy to look year over year and see what worked and what didn't. That right there should pop out some good insights and then give you some ideas for things to test for like the year coming up. So I think that about covers, generally speaking. Yeah, I could go on about paid ads for about 2 hours. So
no, that was great. Thanks, Kevin. I agree with your advice. At the end of the day, too, most businesses just do not have limitless budgets. You want to make sure that you're focusing your marketing efforts in the right places, and ultimately understanding your ROI helps you get to that. One other thing I do want to call out, and I highly recommend this, is that online retailers who are using Mailchimp for their marketing needs should consider connecting their online store to Mailchimp. Because by doing that, you're actually bringing your store data and your marketing data and you're centralizing it into one place. This will allow you to more effectively market to your customers, and it enables you to track ROI against your marketing efforts. And also with a connected store, you can even look at segment performance so you can best understand what segment of your audience is actually transacting. So, but before we move on to the next tip, I want to just take a second to welcome any new viewers that may have just joined us. My name is Sonaly Patel, and I'm joined by 4 fantastic panelists to discuss how to best leverage analytics this holiday season. At this point, we've covered 4 tips. We've talked about building an analytics infrastructure, which includes your reporting cadence. We've talked about traffic patterns and conversion rates and how to best interpret what they're telling you. And we've discussed marketing campaign ROI. Now let's move on to tip number 5, which is evaluate segment performance to best optimize efforts. And Kevin, you mentioned a little bit of that, so this is actually a perfect segue. Deanna, as someone with years of online experience and as a former online merchant, I'm sure you have an interesting point of view on this tip.
Yes. So definitely, Kevin touched on it with regards to, tracking your performance from a marketing standpoint. But I think it's also important not only to be able to look at what channels are really driving the most traffic and most importantly, conversion and revenue, but also what segment of users am I seeing the largest growth compared to previous timeframes. So definitely being able to track your segment and being able to understand what segment of users are really purchasing what products and which ones are really driving revenue for your business during this time frame. And in order for you to do that, you could utilize a tool such as a customer relationship management tool, which really allows you to really break down and really look at your different segment of users. And during Black Friday, being able to really look at what are purchasing what during what time frame, that allows you to really be nimble with your overall strategy. So for instance, you're seeing a certain segment of users is really driving the highest traffic and conversion. How do you find more people that have similar attributes in order for you to drive additional traffic and conversion for your business? Also, we know that in today's day and age is definitely everyone is being bombarded with a lot of different messages. So through customer segmentation, you're also able to develop more personalized messaging in order for you to cut through the clutter that exists today and will continue to exist within the online channel. So for instance, I know that I mentioned before in terms of different strategies and different levers you can pull with regards to taking additional discounts on items and removing shipping, et cetera, in real time. As you're making those changes, how do you make people aware of the updates that you're making in order for you to, again, maximize your sales potential? And one way you can do that is really looking at, if you know that you're taking additional discount on dresses and you have a segment of users that always purchases these items from your store, you can send out an email saying, hey, I just slashed the prices by, 20%, come and buy. So again, you're talking directly, you're personalizing your messaging directly to this customer that purchases and is interested in this particular category of offerings through your website in order for you to maximize your conversion potential. So I think that, again, in today's day and age, it's very important that you not only track the performance of what's coming to your site, but it's also more important that you take those insights and you're be able to take it down to a more granular level in order for you to personalize your messaging so you're speaking to the right people at the right time, at the right place.
Absolutely. Thank you, Deanna. Adam, I know based on the work you've been doing, you've got a lot of experience in this area too. Would love to hear kind of what your take is on this one.
Yeah, I mean, just to pick up right where Deanna left off, I mean, the granular level really is what it's all about. I mean, you have to be really creative, I think, now. And I think one of the things that marketers have gotten better about recently is being able to do more segmentation, to use that for personalized communications. Some of the things that we're doing with our clients, which I think are pretty interesting, at least, you know, I think both Kevin and Deanna touched on this before, but using the purchase history to establish new segments, you can target by type of purchase or the product category, but also by the purchase incentive, you know, what was being used to generate the purchase initially. One of the cool things we're doing this year for a couple of clients is we're looking back at last year's metrics and we're seeing whether or not people use coupon codes or free shipping or whatever the incentive was. And then we're actually redistributing the similar incentives to them this year based on what got them to buy last year. Mm-hmm. So some people are getting these coupons, some people are getting other offers, but it's mm-hmm. really based on what created that initial engagement with them in the year previous. Let's see here. Some of the other things that we're doing too, we're segmenting by engagement. So if you don't have a lot of purchase history in the past, you can look at who's opening and who's clicking your emails. I mean, Mailchimp makes this really, really easy. You can create segments on those who have, you know, given you positive engagement and send them special offers. Linking to your VIPs or sending emails to your VIPs with the best deals, also a really great tactic. But another one to consider too is lack of engagement. So probably one of the easiest and best things you can do over the holidays to improve your conversions is to resend emails to non-opens. We constantly send our emails to people who did not open their first email. One tip on doing this is that if you do send a second email, to do it at least 24 hours behind the first one and give it a different subject line. So even if they have the old one in their inbox, it won't appear as the same message. Mm-hmm. But what we're finding is that we're seeing somewhere between 20 and 40% of our overall revenue generated coming from those resends to non-open. So really easy segment. Mailchimp makes it really easy to do that, and it's a great tactic to do to boost revenue.
Yeah, Adam, real quick, we do the exact same thing, but with banner ads. So mm-hmm. similarly, where if they're on your email list, you can use, you know, Mailchimp segmentation to get you know, to get in their inbox. But if they're not on the mailing list, banner ads are a great way to do the exact same thing. And we see very similar if they've abandoned the cart or if they've fallen off a certain point in the funnel, it's a good time to trigger a banner ad and maybe throw a coupon their way to see if it's going to tip them over to get them to go and convert. So
yeah, those retargeting efforts can really pay off in the holidays for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love this tip. Thank you so much. What great conversations and helpful advice. Well, so we've discussed different ways to evaluate performance and optimize marketing efforts, but there will be a time when you will need to pull additional levers to meet your key business goals, which takes us to the very next tip number 6, which is determine if additional levers are needed to reach sales and inventory turn goals. And for online retailers, sales goals and inventory turn goals are key metrics for success. Deanna, based on your past experience in merchandising, you were probably monitoring these metrics a good bit during the holiday season. I would love to kind of hear about your experiences.
So I found in my retail experience, I actually love, you know, Black Friday and Cyber Week. And I feel as though, especially being able to maximize during the actual event, that's when I see the largest opportunity to be reactive to what you're seeing with regards to your customer navigation and purchase behavior. Because again, I think Kevin mentioned that it's no longer a day in terms of like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It's now such a long time frame. So given the fact that you have a longer holiday period, that gives you a lot of opportunity to really chart the course and move your ship, you know, in the right direction if you're not seeing the growth that you forecasted initially for the event. So really identifying different levers in which you can pull, again, reacting to what you're seeing in terms of business performance. So I kind of broke it out into like 5 different areas with regards to being able to pull different levers. So the first one is really looking at your marketing campaign performance, which we, you know, talked about earlier in the panel with regards to really looking at your overall return on investment and really focused on qualified traffic and not just the sheer volume of traffic that's coming to your website. So again, if you're seeing the largest amount of traffic coming in from, you know, social, for instance, or your digital ads, and you're not only seeing traffic coming through, but actually you're seeing high conversion rates, how do you be nimble during that time frame? Again, given the fact that it is a longer time period, how can you be very nimble and reactive and you shift around your funds to those channels that are really driving the highest return on investment for your business? So again, that goes back to the importance of having that reporting readily available in order for you to be able to quickly react to your business needs. The second area is really looking at your site experience. So for instance, if you you're selling through a particular, set of product, or you have products within your promotional assortment where you're not seeing as much inventory sell through. How do you also update your site experience from a banner perspective and give more visibility to those slower moving items in order for customers to see them and when they land on your website in order to entice them to purchase? So really looking at what changes you need to make from a site experience, not only with your creative banners, but also looking at how you're merchandising your products on your product landing page in order to give visibility to items, again, that are slower moving. The third one, which I touched on before, is really focused on, pricing and looking at whether or not you need to pull any levers with regards to, your pricing of your products in order to drive increase in conversion. And with pricing, I know that during Black Friday, yes, you want to drive sales, but you also want to drive profitability for your business. So if you are taking additional discounts, also keeping in mind, how can I cross-sell and upsell in order to increase my overall market basket sales potential? So looking at items that are complementary, or looking at, okay, I have these items on sale and I'm tracking, my sell through, and I notice that customers are attaching this product with product X with products Y. So how do you, be reactive to your customers' purchase behavior and having those cross-sell, upsell moments, whether it's on your product information page in the cart, just finding ways in which you can drive together that attachment and, again, increase market basket and overall profitability. And then the fifth most important thing is really on inventory, management, making sure that, again, it's a longer time period with regards to Black Friday and Cyber Week. So how do you also make sure that you're keeping a pulse on your inventory as you're making changes to your pricing strategy? Because you also want to make sure that as you're pulling these levers, you want to make sure that your inventory can support the demand that will come through, because nothing upsets a customer more than coming to the website and there's nothing to purchase. And I know that, Jason, you have a lot of expertise within this area, so I'm going to flip it over to you.
Yeah. Can I add one real quick before we move?
Sure.
So there's one that I just saw that I thought was fantastic that I think people should try, is that the other lever is the timing of the offers and creating a sense of urgency there. Mm-hmm. And with Black Friday continuing to get longer and longer, and it's Black November or whatever you want to call it. I saw one company break it out into weekly promotions, and this could help with inventory as well. Because what they did was they started a 1 weekly sale the first week of November, and they only sold one kind of product on their store. And then the week 2 was like they were selling different sections of their store at different weeks. So that allowed them to focus on one area. It allowed them to expand the sale so they could do a whole Black November, but they can also focus on one area and create some urgency, because there's basically 4 endpoints where they say, last chance to get the deal on this kind of product. Next week, those are going to be full price. We're going to go sell something else. So I think creating some urgency there, as it gets longer, so people don't just get numb to this everlasting Black Friday sale, and they're just oh, I'll just get to it later. So urgency could be a fun one to throw in there. But sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add that.
No, that was great. Thank you.
I think that also, like you said, in terms of just the flash sales have definitely been increasing in popularity by creating that sense of urgency. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, Jason, I know you were about to chime in too.
No, that's great. Thanks. No, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, so going on the inventory, inventory is key. Can't echo enough. If you go to a site and you can't see the item you want to purchase, then you're probably just going to leave, right? So I think those tips are really important, making sure that if you're showing high demand for a product, but you might be running low, then you might want to limit the number of items they can purchase or stagger it. And you can do that typically on your site to make sure that, hey, during this week, this number of items is available. Or put limits on what they can purchase. But at the end, that's on the selling side. Now on the operational side, you want to make sure that your solution keeps track of not only every product you buy and you sell, but also every product you buy. So that means tracking your inventory status in real time so you can prevent shortages. On the e-commerce side, you basically you just tell it how much you have on hand. But you need a solution that's going to say, hey, how do I create a purchase order? How do I track what's on order and what's on back order? And it'll give me low stock alerts. And then also make sure that you go from receiving the inventory to paying the bill, to entering a bill and paying it, so you can pay your suppliers on schedule. And then getting inventory insights by accessing reports, such as on the financial side, you want to run a sales by product report, which will give you not only the sales, but it'll also give you your cost of goods sold. So you can at least get your gross margin on what you're selling. And then you can run profit and loss reports to make sure that you're getting not only your sales, your COGS, but also some of the overhead, like your shipping and whatnot. So you can actually measure the larger profitability of products. And then most importantly, just measuring your cash flow, because this is the time of the year where you're going to be buying a lot up front, and getting suppliers. So you want to make sure that your cash need, that you're in a position where you can meet your cash needs.
Absolutely. First off, I love this conversation. I feel like everyone's had something to say here because there's so much meaty information here. I love that, there's levers that we can pull to help increase sales or kind of keep an eye on inventory needs. And I love that, Jason, you went through and explained, hey, yeah, these are all the ideas of ways to reach your sales and inventory goals, but here's how you actually monitor it. And these are the tips that you need to kind of keep in mind as you're kind of watching these levers get pulled. So thank you. That was very helpful. And I'm sure our viewers will also find this very insightful. So thank you all for that. And with that, we are on to our very last tip. I can't believe how fast the time has gone here. Tip number 7. Black Friday and Cyber Week are over. Now what? This tip, it may be the last one, but I think it's extremely important. I think at this point, everybody's worked so hard in preparing for and executing for the holiday season. It's key though that you take a moment to reflect on your performance. And Deanna, you've been through many Black Friday postmortems working for different retailers. Would love to kind of hear what you have, some of your experience and thoughts on this particular tip.
Yeah, so we know that this year has been a year like no other. And I think that getting through, holiday season, like first, definitely like celebrate, scream, do whatever you need to do in terms of just like your celebration to say, hey, I made it through, this year. But before, I know that it's easy to kind of say, okay, I made it, and then like you're ready to go into like your holidays. But it's very important that you do take the time while it's top of mind to really have a postmortem with your team to really understand, what worked, what didn't work, and making sure that you're having the conversation in order for you to take those learnings into what your plans are for 2021. So really like pulling together like all your KPIs. I think, Kevin, you touched on it earlier with regards to like Google Analytics, and Jason spoke to, inventory and like your financials and your profitability. And then also Adam, you spoke to just overall like your marketing, channel performance as well. So just making sure that you're tracking all those KPIs and you're doing a very comprehensive report out with regards to how did, what is my overall website performance from a traffic conversion, bounce rate, overall path to conversion point of view. What did my financials look like with regards to, product sales, my margin levels, and also looking at overall performance from a marketing channel perspective, what are those channels that really, drove the most traffic and conversion for my business, and really being able to look through it, take those learnings and write recommendations. Because again, as we get into 2021, e-commerce is a very, promotional channel. So it's not only going to help you to drive what your strategy will be next year for Black Friday and Cyber Week, and it might be, 3 months long, who knows what next year will bring, but really allowing you to take those insights and turn them into learnings in order for you to execute on your strategies that you will put in place in Q1 of next year. So this all just helps you to maximize your overall sales potential as you head into a new year. So very important to take that time, whether you're, a solopreneur taking the time with yourself, or you have a team taking the time to meet with your team and walk through those metrics before you head out for the holidays.
I love that. Thank you. That was such a great summary. There's no doubt that documenting learnings and insights is important so that you can set yourself up for success for the following year. And, and Deanna, you said it right. I mean, you might think you have plenty of time, but it's always fresh on your mind when you do it right away. And one thing I know is that whenever we did a postmortem for Black Friday, we always included all of our channel and agency partners in the postmortem, because I think it's important to capture details from everyone's differing points of view. You might glean some insight that's only going to help you become more successful as in your future years. And with that, we have closed out our Black Friday countdown tips. Deanna, Kevin, Jason, and Adam, a huge thank you to you. There is no doubt that your schedules are super busy, but I so appreciate you all taking the time today and sharing your wealth of knowledge. I think this was just a really great conversation. It was very casual, but I love the amount of analytics and experience that you all have. And I found it to be super insightful, and I think the tips and recommendations were really spot on. I also want to thank all the listeners who joined us. Our hope is that you found these tips to be valuable in helping you reach your business goals. And as a friendly reminder, we will post this video across Facebook and YouTube. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Sonaly Patel from Mailchimp. Happy selling, and I wish you the very best in this upcoming holiday season. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.